So I was gonna start just jumping into reactions. I really wasn't gonna stream immediately after I got off work, but I decided against it. Well, I changed my mind because I don't like my job. And so, what better way to, get over that than to talk to the internet? Because y'all people are definitely real and y'all definitely care, right? Joke's on me. I know nobody cares. Um, but check it. All right, so boom. One thing that I can't stand when you one of my many jobs, one of the many hats that I wear, you feel me, is a security. One thing about and I do a mobile patrol, so it's not the night's never boring. You know what I'm saying? I drive around. I got the patrol car. I got the lights. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff is cool until you get approached by old people or people in general. Because as a young, grown individual myself, it's okay. Like life is okay. But when you get around the world where you have people double my age, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, sometimes, it gets even worse because everybody feels entitled to share their opinion. And to be quite honest, I don't care. I'm here to collect a check and go home. If I don't like the situation I'm in as a security guard, you know what I'm gonna do? Call 911. Because what do I look like getting shot for $18 an hour? It's not fucking happening. All right? It's not fucking happening. Joke's on you. But that wasn't the problem, right? So we have a little route log. Think of like how a bus has bus stops. That's how my security job works. You go to various places because they're required, right? You got to go to different places a certain number of times during the night. When you go, doesn't matter. As long as you get through all the routes, you're good. So I was. And they added extra stops at this one particular place that I don't necessarily love because I don't like going to apartment complexes. I don't like going to apartment complexes more than like 3 times because I can always push those back. But when you make me go more than 3 times, that means I have to go earlier in the day. And that's where the buffoonery really hits. You know what I'm saying? And today, it wasn't terrible until I got 3 additional stops added to my route while I was going. Now, the 3 additional stops were not just regular stops. No, no, no. Those were alarms, which means that one of two things happened. Either A, the cleaners were cleaning a particular property and they weren't supposed to be there at that time because they got there late, which is what usually happens. You know what I'm saying? It happens pretty often. Shout out to my Latinas and Latinos that be doing the cleaning services for the rental properties. But, sometimes they're late. And so the alarm gets tripped. They call me, they send an alert or whatever. They sent me 3 in an hour. My route was going to take me 10 hours to complete. Why did I need an extra hour of work? I didn't. I'm broke, right? I am. I'm full wholeheartedly. I'm broke as shit. But I don't need that. I don't need that. I'd rather stretch an hour out of my route than be required to work an extra hour. And I guess they just didn't understand that. They just didn't like that. They weren't feeling the vibes, man. So they required me to do an extra hour. Cool. Except I ended up going over to the property that got extra stops added to it as well. And I had to interact with people. So immediately after they told me I had an extra hour added onto my route, I go over to the spot and I'm like, you know what? There's too many people out here. I don't really feel like talking to anybody, but I know if I get out of the car, I'm gonna have to talk to somebody. So I'm thinking if I stay in my car and I just drive around the property with my lights on, nobody's gonna fuck with me. I would be wrong. Because one thing about old people that are paying for an apartment, oh, they're entitled. And, rightfully so sometimes, but this one old man, I appreciate his existence. You know what I'm saying? He was a veteran, or he said he was. I don't know if he actually was. He didn't give that he was on the forefront. He was just a reserve and he was collecting a paycheck. But neither here nor there, no judgment. You know what I'm saying? He was selling his body to the government. Protecting our lands. Long story short, I'm just cruising through this one back parking lot area with my lights on. He's walking his dog. It was like a spaniel, like one of those little like a beagle looking dog, but it was black and white, like Marley and me type shit. Marley was a golden retriever, wasn't he? No, he was a beagle. Whatever the case may have been, it was a smaller dog, but it wasn't a wiener dog. It was like a tweener dog. Bro was walking just in the middle of like a dark ass parking lot, away from his apartment unit, mind you. just taking the dog for a calm little walk, and I'm driving past him. As I'm about to drive past him, he waves his hands up and does this, the window down motion. I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. So I'm praying that it's not a break in. If it's not a break in, I just got to entertain him enough, and he's gonna leave. He gonna leave me alone, or that's what I thought. Just agree with the old person. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Just ad lib a little bit. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk to somebody about that. See what could do one of the hit with him with one of those. Make him feel cared about, because honestly, a lot of old people don't have family members that check on them. They don't have family members that call them, that FaceTime them, that give a damn that they're still alive. The only time that they come to visit them is in the holidays or when they finally kick the bucket. It's tough. It's tough. And that's an assumption that that they procreated. They had offspring. If they didn't have offspring, well, then they're just old and alone, which would explain why he had the dog. Neither here nor there. He walks up to the car. I roll down on my window. He can barely get out his sentence. I can tell that he's an American, but I can't tell like what kind of American he's from. Like what kind of American he is. He's from up north, I felt, but like Virginia up north. So like still kind of south, like Confederate state type South back in I almost said World War II, back during the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. That's cool. But he was talking as though he was entitled, and that's the part that I didn't appreciate. He's like, "Oh, you do security out here?" I was like, "Yes, sir." Mm-hmm. Clearly, I'm sitting in a fucking patrol van, with the lights on, but could be the pizza delivery man. Got green lights, whatever the case may be. It's like, yeah, so I have my car over there. Like, that's my truck over there. He points to his truck. Just continue, like not holding his hand and then dropping it, like pointing like this. Like, I have my truck over there, and there's this car, and they keep parking behind me, and they're. I was like, oh, they're like boxing you in, aren't they? And I was like, on like that side strip area where there's no parking spaces. He's like, huh? I said, oh no, continue. Because I realized he wasn't going to get what the fuck I was talking about as soon as he made the facial expression. He's like, they keep parking behind me on that side area where there's no spot. Mind you, I just said there was no fucking spot, but he kept going. He didn't hear me. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I'm just letting him talk. He's talking about how he talked to the lady, and the lady was like, oh, I don't care because my husband's a veteran right now. And he was like, and I'm a veteran. I was in the military some years ago. And I stay in the office. I stay over in the main building over there, and I talked to the leasing office, and they said this area is a public parking lot, so they can't really do anything about it. So are you patrolling this parking lot? And I was like, well, yes, sir. They said that many tenants. He's like, oh yeah, because they took away some of the parking spaces over there for construction. I said, yes, sir. So some of the tenants that did park over there, they now park over here. And it's kind of confusing, but I work through it. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. It's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's fun, but somebody's got to check over the cars. You know what I'm saying? And he just stared at me. I was like, okay. So I'm just waiting for him to continue or walk the fuck away. And he said, he's just like, yeah, I was talking to them and they said this was a public parking area, and but it makes me feel safe. It makes me feel better that, we have you guys out here just patrolling and stuff. I don't know what the fuck he meant by you guys. I'm hoping he just meant by security people and not by, cause wouldn't I be the type of person to break into your car? You think I'm gonna stop one of me from breaking into your car? In fact, I won't. I'll just call the police and, drive away. Cause I don't get paid enough to intervene. If it comes out, I'll just hit him with the car. I'm not going to lie. Because what do I look like hopping out of a vehicle, a literal machine that can cause death, to run the ones with somebody that may or may not have a gun? I'm not running that risk. He can run the risk with the hood of the car and my bumper. But, he just talked a little bit more, and I just nodded my head and said, oh, yeah. For sure. For about another 4 minutes. Long story short, I was at the site for about 2.5 times as long as the patrol was supposed to be, because I was spending the entire time talking to him, or rather him talking to me, and I just sat there because I couldn't tell him to get the fuck out of my face. But, shout out to that old man. And then I sat there and went for my extra hour. But that's my little rant for the day. I think I might start like a little Security Chronicles. There was another story that I was going to tell, but I forgot what it was. So obviously it wasn't that important and it didn't keep me that late. So